Hey guys, Austin Wallace here with AW Reviews, and today I'm going to be making a video on the pros and cons of my truck. Figured I'd do another video today since it's actually nice out here today and not minus 40 like it was before. We're sitting at around +1 today, so much better for filming conditions. But yeah, today's video I just want to go over some of the pros of the truck, some things I really like about the truck, and some things I really like about the things that are on or that I have done to the truck. And then yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the cons, the things I don't really like about the truck, and the things that have gone wrong, and also the things that have gone wrong that I've been able to fix myself. So yeah, basically we can get into it. We can get into the cons first, because there's definitely going to be a lot more pros than there are cons, because I haven't really had a whole lot go wrong with this truck. So, but yeah, just kind of give a walk around here, so let's see, what's the first con that we can get into? Well, I got this truck in April of 2020, so hasn't even been a full year yet since I've owned it. It is coming up soon. But I guess as soon after I got it, like I said, that spring kind of summer weather was approaching. It was getting a bit warmer out, and I was using my AC. Since I was using my AC, I was obviously wanted it on and all the time to keep it cool, but when I turned it on, it was only on high. It was like on the highest setting possible. It was like blowing my face back. It was just so powerful. So I'm like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna turn it down using the little, fan plus and minus button. So I go to use the minus button, and it wasn't going down. Like the blower setting wasn't getting lower. It was still staying on high, and I'm like, uh-oh, that's not working. So anyways, I did some research and found out that the actual problem was a blower fan speed control module, and it was actually a really easy fix with a simple part. So I ended up ordering the new part, $15 off of Amazon, and found out that the problem was actually behind my glove box. So it's in this component right here. All you have to do to get the glove box down is that you have to push down on these side walls, and the whole entire thing will fold undone like this. And I never even knew that. That was kind of a cool feature. But either way, so you have some other wire harnesses back here and stuff, and some other joints. But the actual part, I don't know if you can see it, it's this white box component right here. That's the module. So literally all we had to do was use a ratchet, take that out, put the new one back in, and bada boom, bada bing, fixed. Fan now goes up and down, and control module again. So I thought that was really cool how easy that fix was. And yeah, literally $15 part off Amazon fixed it, and now when I go to use the plus and minus, it works. So but yeah, so that's kind of the first thing I went and fixed, and that did go wrong with this truck. So very minor. What else is there? I guess I didn't really have any problems again after that until probably around November, December. And in November, I started noticing as soon as it got cold, I'd go to shut the truck off or even to put it in auxiliary, and this kind of warning would come up on my dash cluster saying that, kind of almost like a battery symbol, and it was saying that the truck was going into power saving mode, and to kind of turn the truck back on to keep it in that power saving mode. So I'm like, oh, that's not good. Maybe my battery's almost dead. Maybe there's some sort of unknown electrical issue I'm not really sure about. So I'm like, okay, well, I obviously need to get that fixed. So I'm like, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Canadian Tire and buy a new battery and see if that solves the problem. So I went to Canadian Tire, bought a bit of a more expensive battery. It was around 80 bucks. I wanted a high cold cranking one. So I went and bought that, replaced it by myself, and I have never, ever seen that warning pop up on my gauge cluster since then. I'm guessing the old battery hadn't been changed in quite a while, and it just needed a new one. And honestly, since I got this new cold cranking battery, my truck's starting time, like the actual startup speed, is extremely fast, probably around 2 times faster than what it was before. So that's another thing I've been really impressed with, was how much it sped the starting time up. So that was another little thing that happened. Again, very minor, simple fix. Again, that's probably the second con, and I think the third and final con that I've had on this truck, and this one was just recently. Around 2 or 3 weeks ago, came out of my driveway and actually noticed I had been leaking a bit of oil, as you can see on the bit of puddles right here. And I had only got an oil change probably around 3 or 4 weeks before I noticed these spots. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe they overfilled, or maybe they didn't tighten my plug enough. Maybe I'll just, go take it in, and they'll look at it, and maybe they'll be able to fix it. So I took it in, and he came up to my window, you know, in the shop, and he took me underneath where they actually do the oil change, and he showed me the problem. And here my oil pan gasket was actually had a small hairline crack in it, and it was leaking a bit. And I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks, because fortunately, to replace that seal, you got to drop your pan and get a whole entire new oil change, and it's a lot of labor for not much of a part. But either way, it's an expensive fix. So I went to a couple different shops, and like I was predicting, they quoted me around $400 at each place. So I'm like, I don't really want to pay that just for a simple gasket part. But I'm like, all right. So I'm like, okay, you know, thanks for the info. I'm gonna kind of keep that in mind. But either way, life went on. So it got really cold about a couple weeks ago here, to the point around -40. So I didn't really see it leak much, because obviously, you know, as things get colder, they contract, and so I didn't even see a drop of oil whatsoever. But a week ago, it started warming up now, and so since it's warmed up, I saw it drip a couple more times. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to keep having to top up oil and do all that stuff, so I'm going to see if I can fix this myself. So I went underneath the truck, actually was able to see the crack myself, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe if I can get some sort of sealer, I can fix it. So I went to Ford, and for $15, yes, I know, Ford, everything Ford's expensive, but either way, for $15, I got this kind of little bottle of this kind of, I don't know what you call it, I got a bit of gasket sealer. It's almost like a gasket glue. And I was able to go under the truck and seal this crack myself with this gasket glue. It's like this white film. And that was around a week or so ago now, and I have not found another drip of oil on my driveway or anywhere else whatsoever. I think it fully sealed it for sure. I checked it around a couple days ago, and it looked like that seal was still on there. So I'm like, well, save me $400 for now. Again, maybe as it keeps getting warmer and colder throughout the days, maybe that crack will reopen again. But if so, I'll just reseal it. And other than that, it's not really a huge problem, because even when they checked my oil after I'd lost a bit of it, they only said I'd lost 0.1 of a liter, so almost nothing. But like I said, that's really the only cons on the truck I've had. Everything else has been spectacular. So I guess that can kind of lead us into our pros here. Yeah, starting off for the pros, I guess on the exterior of the truck, or one of the things I like that came with the truck is that this whole entire truck is bulletproof, or rock guarded as you call it. So it has the Line-X material on the rocker panels, the front and rear bumper, and on the sides of the truck. So you have that material, and that's basically to protect against rust, but also other things like, you know, different elements, and if you're going off-roading and getting rock chips and stuff. But since it is rock guarded, I have zero rust on this truck whatsoever, which is really good, because usually you know, the 13th, 14th gen F-150s before the aluminum body, they used to rust pretty bad, and that's not a problem I have on this truck. So that's something that makes me really happy. But other than that, just some other things that came with the truck. This little leather tonneau cover I really like. It's really easy to fold and unfold. I just replaced my third brake light not too long ago with a smoked out black one, because for some reason Ford never changed that to black, even though the front and rear lights on this truck are already black. So that's another thing I really like. It's a nice LED one, so nice and bright, not as dull and boring anymore. I absolutely love my setup on this truck. I have a 2.5-inch leveling kit with 18-inch fuel octane rims mounted on 34-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratracs. Great tires. Great tires on elements. Terrible on ice. Terrible on ice. Do not take them on ice, because you will slide around. Basically on icy days, I have this truck in four-wheel drive and four-wheel drive only, because in two-wheel drive with these tires, it feels like a skating rink. So that's just a heads up for anyone who owns these tires or wants to buy these tires. They are absolutely garbage on ice. But other than that, they are great if you're going through 3 or 4 feet of snow, you know, sand, gravel, anything else, mud, you know, you're good to go. So alright, what else is there for pros? I guess another pro that also came with this truck, and actually the owner gave me a couple more boxes of them, are these high density LED headlight bulbs. I have them in both my front headlights and my front fog lights. So I've never had an issue driving at night with this truck. I've got a couple people throughout the last couple months, they're going by me and they actually flash my their brights at me, thinking I have my brights on, but then I flicker my brights back at them saying that, hey, I don't even have them on yet. That's just how bright my lights are. So does it annoy other drivers? Yeah, probably. Is it really safe for me driving at night? Absolutely. So that's another thing I really enjoy. Other than that, I guess closer to the front of the truck here, I guess we should probably talk about the engine. That's another thing I really loved about this truck is just the quality of the 5-liter. Prior to this 5-liter, I actually owned an 06 F-150 that had the 5.4 in it. And yes, I know what you're going to say, oh, the 5.4 with its cam phaser issues and the tick and all that other stuff, but honestly, I was kind of sad to let that truck go because the 5.4 in that truck actually didn't give me any issues whatsoever. The reason I ended up having to get rid of that truck is because it had a really, really bad electrical issue that I was actually never able to determine. And I wasn't going to keep paying dealerships and different shops to try to fix the problem when they couldn't even find it. So eventually I had to end up getting rid of that truck. But yeah, I didn't, complete difference in the 5-liter from the 5.4. This engine is extremely torquey, quite a bit of horsepower, whereas the 5.4 I had, it was sluggish and slow and hard on fuel. And even for how much power and torque this engine has, it is really fuel efficient. Like, I'm probably down to, even with the big tires and stuff, I'm probably down to 14.5 liters per 100k, maybe 15 or 16 in winter. So again, it's pretty good for a full-size pickup for sure. But like I said, just reliability. The 5-liter, I've had no issues with this engine whatsoever. And I understood that, with the 2011 to 2014, that was also the year 2011, just like this truck, where they introduced the EcoBoost. Again, great engine. The only thing that's really problematic with those trucks are the timing chains, which obviously isn't an issue that I've had on my truck because it is the 5-liter. So again, that's another thing I like. But that's basically everything exterior wise. I guess moving into the interior, I have a lot of pros about that too. Overall, the quality is really good. You still got your plastics and everything else, but Ford introduced this new material in 2011, which they carried on throughout the years, but it's kind of like this black kind of carbon fiber look to it. I think it's pretty cool, really easy to keep clean. But it's on the doors and it's carried on through the dash and stuff. And then they have all their chrome accents and everything else that looks really nice. And my truck actually has a 7.2-inch touchscreen, the Sync one. So I know it sounds strange, but actually in this year for the 2011 and 2012, the touchscreens weren't that common. They were actually quite rare. So that's kind of nice that it has it. But other than that, I really am a fan of the leather in this truck. Man, the truck has really nice leather. It's really easy to keep clean. And overall, the quality, even for being 2011, is really, really good. So I've been really impressed with that. What else is the other things I like? I really like the sunroof. Prior to having this truck, I'd never owned one. Owned a truck having a sunroof before, and so I actually got to use it quite a bit in summer, and I really enjoyed it. It's actually really nice to get a breeze in here. So, but like I said, yeah, leather's in really good condition. The previous owner of this truck was actually so paranoid about keeping his back seats in such good condition because he had 2 kids, and so what he did is he put like these rubber mats behind their car seats so it wouldn't damage the leather, which is why these back seats are in the condition they are in, because he kept them so nice, and obviously I keep them nice and clean too. But other than that, that's basically it for interior. The only thing I'd like to add that I really, really, really like with this truck is the sound system. It has a Sony sound system, and since it has that system, it actually sports a 9.5-inch 700-watt Sony subwoofer that comes stock in these FX4s. So that's another really cool feature I enjoy, and it sounds actually really good. You can customize the bass and treble settings just on the infotainment system on the screen. And it sounds really good. It's quite a loud thump actually. People would probably think I probably have around a 10-inch sub in here when it's actually just the small stock one, so that's another thing I've really been impressed with. But like I said, the pros of this truck, I could go on forever and make this video super long, but I obviously don't want to do that. But other than that, I guess to end off, I'm probably going to end off with my favorite feature on this truck, which is actually quite small, but very, very cool feature, is actually this in and out kind of keypad on my door latch here. That is probably one of the most useful features on this truck since I've gotten it. And I never would have thought I would have liked it and used it so much as I have now. So basically, as as you'd think. It's basically just like a 5-digit code that you put in to unlock all your doors, and then when you want them all unlocked, you simply just press the 2 last ones and it locks all the doors. I've found this most useful because, you know, when I'm in remote locations and I don't want to keep all my stuff with me in my pockets that could possibly fall out, all I have to do is I could literally just put them in my center console, you know, get out of the truck, lock it with my keypad, and then as soon as I come back, all I have to do is use that keypad again and unlock the truck. So that's probably by far one of my favorite features on this truck so far. But yeah, other than that, guys, just wanted to make a quick little video today, just talking about the truck. Like I said, the pros definitely outweigh the cons for sure, and I've really enjoyed it so far. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this video useful. I'm going to be doing a video in probably another week here, doing a full test drive and review of the truck. I'm probably going to use that one to end the series of videos that I have been making. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. Lots more to come, and we'll see you next time.